So, with the release of Spider-Man No Way Home being at least out for at least 48 hours now, we obviously have all seen it at least more than 5 times, and we have analysed the trailer very much. Obviously, if you haven't seen our No Way Home trailer 2 breakdown, go check that out. I'll put it at the end of the video for you to go check out. But obviously in that we discussed a little bit about who could die in that video, and in today's video I'm going to be discussing into more detail who I think will die. Now I did say 4 people in that, and it probably obviously will more people will die. Obviously the Sinister Six villains are going to die inevitably, probably, or they'll get sent back to their universes, but they're inevitably going to die, because if they get sent back to their universe, they're already dead in that universe, so they'll be dead anyway. So yeah, if you did enjoy this video today, please like and subscribe, and tell us who what your favourite part of the trailer was, and who your favourite villain in No Way Home is, or so far that we know of. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So we obviously had the trailer yesterday, no, a couple of days ago now, and we did see a lot. We saw many things. Obviously Doctor Strange, the multiverse breaking. Obviously we got better look at Green Goblin and all the other villains that we're gonna see. Got some nice quotes in there. Got seeing Peter suffer, and obviously, like they said it before, we will be seeing him suffer in this film. So, as we know, that means as him suffering, all Peter Parkers do suffer. Tobey Maguire suffered, and Andrew Garfield obviously suffered a lot. In my opinion, I think he suffered the most out of all of them, and that could heavily change in No Way Home. But obviously, the point is that he'll stay Spider-Man. Obviously, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man will tell Tom Holland to stay Spider-Man, and obviously being Spider-Man is tough, but he has to deal with it and live his life. But he will suffer in this film a lot, and I think Tom Holland's Peter Parker will be the one that suffers the most out of all 3, in my opinion. And I think that there's 4 people that could have a big impact on, obviously, Spider-Man's life. He's already lost someone close to him. It's like an uncle figure to him, and it's Iron Man or Tony Stark. That is basically like the Uncle Ben of the MCU. Tony Stark was basically an uncle figure to Peter Parker in the MCU, and yeah, he's already lost someone, and I think he's going to lose many more. Now, there is 4 people in this film. I did say this in the trailer breakdown. There's 4, and it is Happy, Aunt May, Ned, and MJ. Now, Ned, we know that he could turn into the Hobgoblin, and that could lead on to a Spider-Man 4, or maybe a movie in the future, maybe a Venom or something. We see at the end of the trailer we got the multiverse breaking through, and that could be when Venom comes through with Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, sorry. But no, I think Ned will become Hobgoblin, and that could lead on to something else. Maybe the Hobgoblin, his memory gets wiped as Ned, and then he just fully turns into the Hobgoblin. He won't remember who Peter is. That will make Peter, upset, and he's lost his best friend, Aunt May. Now, obviously, that will make him very upset, that is his aunt. She's looked after him practically all his life. She's been there for him. He cares about her very much. And it will be very harsh on Peter Parker to lose his uncle, his uncle figure, and his Aunt May. Obviously, big loss to him. Obviously, we know that Aunt May, in the trailer, we see her running in a red sort of room, so maybe that's hinting at something. Maybe she's trying to get away from someone, which obviously could point to her dying, which is why I put her on this list. Now, Ned, there's not really anything that's significant pointing to him dying, but I do think that because in the comics, obviously, Hobgoblin is Ned, and Ned leads, and obviously Ned leads in the movie, isn't it? And I just do think with the Green Goblin as well, I think there is many hints pointing to that Ned will become obviously the Hobgoblin, but we'll have to wait and see. But Ned is probably on the least likely of dying. Now, Happy, obviously he means a lot to Peter Parker. Obviously he made Tony, his uncle figure, basically take a look at Peter Parker and obviously bring him in and mentor him and stuff like that. Happy was always there for him. Obviously we don't, in Homecoming, it kind of like Happy is very harsh on him, but we start to realise and start to see later on in Far From Home and stuff like that Happy does really care about Peter Parker, and Peter Parker cares about him a lot, and they have a good bond together. So Peter losing him, that would be a massive blow to Peter. I think that would have a really bad effect on him, and yeah, like all these characters, if they died, would have a very bad effect. Now, the one that I think the most obvious one, that with Aunt May probably, is MJ. Now, MJ, obviously, his girlfriend, someone who he cares about a lot, someone he loves. Obviously, we know in the past, that both Spider-Man, that Andrew Garfield has lost his Gwen Stacy in a very bad way, and obviously we do get a little comparison in the No Way Home trailer with MJ falling, and obviously that reminded us of when Gwen Stacy died at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2 when she's falling through the tower. She obviously Andrew Garfield does his best to save her, but obviously when he does, she snaps her neck and she dies. So that had a really bad effect on him. Obviously he didn't be Spider-Man for 5 months, I think it was. But then Rhino came. He knew he had to do something. The crime was going up, and he knew that when he watched Gwen Stacy, that she inspired him to become Spider-Man again. And that's like what I said earlier, that all the Spider-Men, Peter Parker, they all lose a lot. They're gonna lose everything, but they're Spider-Man. It's their job to help everyone. They have to deal with what's basically what they lose, because that's they're Spider-Man, and they have to do their job. And I think that Peter Parker will lose a lot in this film. He's already lost Iron Man, Tony Stark. So yeah, I think he will lose maybe two out of these 4 people that I've said on this list. And I think the ones that most likely that will have a massive effect on him will be MJ and Aunt May. Obviously Ned will have a big effect on him, but I don't think he'll die. I think he'll turn into the Hobgoblin, and maybe he'll fight him in this film, or maybe future films he'll be in them. But yeah, it does seem like someone will die. Obviously at the start of the trailer, it's kind of like foreshadowing, a bit of prophetic fallacy, that it does look like he will lose someone. It was very much foreshadowing that someone later on in the film will die. Maybe that's after he's just lost someone. Obviously he's standing in the rain, looks like he's very upset, looks like he knows that he's failed his family and his friends, but he doesn't look that upset. Maybe that's before he knew he's messed. Obviously he knew that it's partially his fault that all these villains have come and become visitors to their universe. So maybe that's why he's upset. But I do think that either way, I think even if that is the case, then I think it is foreshadowing in the trailer that something will happen to MJ, Aunt May, Happy, or Ned. And I do think that it will be Aunt May or MJ. Obviously we see MJ falling in the trailer, which obviously gives us a very strong idea that she might die, but obviously Aunt May running as well, that gives us a very strong idea that she'll die as well. So yeah, I think it's going to be tough who dies. I can't really say one person who I think guaranteed will die, because any of these 4 will die. But I think the ones that will have a big impact on Peter will be his Aunt May dying, and obviously his girlfriend, who he loves a lot, MJ. I think those 2 will have the biggest effects on it. I think it would make sense if they kill them off, because it will show that Peter Parker will lose everyone. Even in every timeline, it shows that he will lose someone close to him, and that's just what happens when being Spider-Man. And he knows that he has to build it up again and be the Spider-Man, and help the city and be the Spider-Man that everyone knows he is, because that's what the other Spider-Man have to do. Andrew Garfield, it will be tough on him, but he knows he has to do it. So yeah, that's my 4 candidates who are up for meeting their fate in this No Way Home. So tell us who you think down below will be most likely to be killed, or who you think out of the 2 will have, or who you think will have the biggest effect on Peter Parker. Tell us that down below. If you did enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. Hope you had a good day, and goodbye.